And I know you've talked about it a million times, but I want to talk about the 2.17-second knockout just for our fans over here because I got to witness that in person. I think I turned around or looked down to grab a drink of my beer, and I looked up, and the damn fight was over.
Yeah.
So it was pretty cool.
You are listening to Salty's Fight Talk, hosted by the big, sexy, stay frosty fight fans.
All right, Justin Watson, welcome to Salty's Fight Talk. I'm sorry I'm running late in here. Fucking came in on two wheels.
It's all good, man. How you doing?
Hell of a day today. I'm feeling pretty good. How are you doing on this fine Thursday afternoon?
Not too bad. Been sitting in a lot of traffic today.
Well, that's the current situation. That's why I got here 5 minutes late. But let's get into it, dude. BK Warmonger, man, you're an absolute animal in the squared circle. I've got to watch you personally. And I wanted to bring you on. I've been wanting to get you on. I know we've scheduled a few times, but there's just been some scheduling issues. But we got you here today. I want our listeners to hear your story, how you got into the fight world. And I know you've talked about it a million times, but I want to talk about the 2.17-second knockout just for our fans over here because I got to witness that in person. I think I turned around or looked down to grab a drink of my beer, and I looked up, and the damn fight was over.
Yeah.
So it was pretty cool. But welcome to the show. Just kind of want to get into it and talk, kind of hear your story. What got you wanting to enter into the fight world, whether that be the bare knuckle or what was kind of your past history that kind of led you into going into a bare knuckle fighter?
Yeah, I mean, growing up, I was always a wild kid and rambunctious, and where I grew up, we just ended up fighting a lot. It was kind of like a pastime, um, schoolyard fights, and so um, it was kind of second nature to me. And I got into MMA when I was 19, 20, and then got into BKFC later on.
Nice. So young kid, rambunctious, get that a lot out of the guys. We're all boys. We all grew up fighting, beating the shit out of our friends, our brothers, or having an older brother beat the crap out of us. Um, so you started off in MMA. Did you fight professionally in that at all for a little while?
Yeah,
Or
I
yeah,
did. I started out in the early 2010s, 11, something like that, and competed as an amateur for several years, and then got out of the sport for a while. I kept judging so I could stay close to the sport, but just had to get more financially responsible and had to work and stuff like that, so I couldn't train as much. And when I got into my early 30s, I figured out, it's just kind of it was now or never. So I went pro in about 2021, I guess. I had taken several years off from competing, and then when I came back, I just went straight for it.
sweet. So you went right back into the MMA, or did you come back and go into bare knuckle? What kind of led? How did you get that opportunity in the bare knuckle fighting world?
I came
What
back.
kind of led you to that?
Yeah, I came back to MMA. I had had my eye on bare knuckle the whole time and just kind of looking for an opportunity to get in. And then I got hooked up with a manager just through a friend, um, and he got me the opportunity to do one of the Prospect Series cards a couple years ago, and that's kind of what got me into that. And with MMA, grappling was always the part of it that I wasn't really interested in. Didn't want to be on the ground wrestling. I just wanted to stand up and bang. So um, bare knuckle was kind of right up my alley. I knew that I would be able to thrive in that. So as soon as I got the opportunity, I was done with MMA.
Yeah, and I see just following that sport closely. A lot of the guys that we talk to or have around and meet, they're all like, and I just want to stand up and punch. I
Yeah,
just wanted to go knuckle to knuckle, stand there on the ground. And the grappling was never my strong suit, or I was tired of getting kicked in the calf or, in the leg over and over again. And just, um, I love the MMA aspect, but to sit and watch you guys kind of just, it's more, it feels like a real fight, real ground and pound fight. Like you would back in the schoolyard, like you would out back in your backyard with your buddies. you're throwing fists. And at the end of it, everybody's cool with everybody. There's hugs passed around, two warriors in a ring going at it. Um, so it is cool to hear that you guys are, a lot of y'all starting that MMA world, and you're just like, you know what, the grappling part, and that stuff bores a lot of people too. So a lot of the fans are starting to love this bare knuckle aspect of it too, because it's always brutality. I mean, it's never, there's never a round where it's dancing, somebody's on somebody's back a whole round. They're just playing around on the ground. Some fights that's fun to watch if you got two really good grapplers going at it back and forth, but it's never fun for the guy that I guess isn't solid at grappling and has to lose a fight that way when he knows if you stood up, you can take it to the ground.
Yeah, man. I mean,
So
grappling for me is just exhausting at my age. I just don't want to do that. I'd rather do damage and like you say, go in there and actually fight. I love watching grappling, and I like watching MMA. But had I had the opportunity to get into just pure boxing or kickboxing as when I was younger, that's probably what I would have done. MMA was just the only outlet. There was the only gym around was mixed martial arts. So um, I just had to go and not had to, but that was the option that was there.
yeah, did you get a chance to watch the UFC fight this past weekend?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean that for a good example is Marab is unreal when it comes to the wrestling and ground game.
Yeah.
And no matter really what I think Sean O'Malley, he changed some stuff up, some lifestyle changes, prepared for that the most he could. But when you get an animal that has that endurance like that and can just keep driving you into the ground and wearing you out like that, it's hard. And when they were both standing up, they were both equally exchanging licks on each other.
Yeah.
They both, it looked kind of equal fight. The second it goes down to the ground, you can tell who's got better endurance and who doesn't.
Yeah, no
So
doubt.
that's a great thing for.
There's a lot of guys like Sean O'Malley who win a lot of fights before the fight ever starts. You think about a professional fighter, you don't think that they're actually afraid of another human being or anything like that. And it's not really a fear of that person, but just knowing that their abilities, they present a style that could ultimately beat you on points or whatever. It's not that you're afraid of them knocking you out or whatever, but with Sean, a lot of times I think he puts that fear of getting knocked out into guys, so it keeps him timid. Where you're just not going to get in Rob's head. He really doesn't care. He's been on the brink of going to sleep and come back and won fights, and he's going to take all your shots and keep coming. So, I think that without Sean being able to kind of get in his head, that played a big factor in it too. That was a first for Sean is not being, even with Aljo. Sean was completely in Aljo's head, and he has been with everybody else. It kind of keeps him timid, and Marab just didn't have the timidity. He was willing to exchange with him and then get the takedowns when he needed them.
Yeah, I think Marab's definitely a different animal. That guy is something else. He's an enjoyable person to watch. I mean, pretty much all around. But yeah, that leads, and I think for me personally, what brought me to love bare knuckle and watch you guys is it kind of takes that other aspect out. It's man versus man, and it's anybody's game in that.
Mm-hmm.
You, you could be winning a fight. I mean, we've seen it in the last couple fights. Guys have been up, they've been taking rounds, and then dude's on the ropes. 2 seconds later, the guy who's been winning the last 3 rounds is out cold.
Yeah.
And all it took was that one hit. And that's what I think makes it a little more enjoyable to watch you guys and see you guys, and the respect that you have for each other. There's always good when you guys talk crap, but you understand that it's anyone's game in there. But you're coming in, that each of you thinks I'm gonna knock this guy out, and that's
Yeah.
what's fun about it. It's fun to watch. I've never seen a boring bare knuckle fight.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's rare. If I'm bored, something's not going on right.
Yeah,
So
it makes it a really hard sport to gamble on too. Because like you say,
yeah,
it's
absolutely.
one shot can change everything. I mean, in the fight that you were at of mine, the guy that I fought, he walked out as a 9-1 favorite, and then was unconscious as soon as the bell rang. So you just can't ever tell what's going to happen in these things.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, like I said, we were there at that fight, and we got there, got the walkout, saw y'all get in the ring, got towed the line, knuckled up, and then on the canvas. And I absolutely
Yep.
I missed it. Everyone went insane. I reached down because I was not expecting in 2.17 seconds that the guy standing in front of you was going to get knocked out. Um, and I almost want to
Right.
say, wasn't he in a sense favored in that fight against you? Was that am I
Yeah,
thinking
that's
that?
what I was saying a second ago. He was
Okay.
he came in as a 9-1 favorite. Yeah, I was given no chance in that
Yeah.
fight, but
And then
again, it's in an MMA fight that probably those odds would have been probably legitimate. He
mhm.
would have been able to out grapple me, and if I couldn't stop him early, then I probably would have been a long night for me. But bare knuckle is just a different sport. It's not boxing. It's not MMA. It's more just a fight. I mean,
Yeah.
and power plays a major factor, as well as just durability and being able to be okay with just getting sliced open. The brutality of the look of it, I guess.
Mhm.
It just takes it's just a different type of person sport.
Yeah, man, it definitely takes a special group of guys to get in there and do that, and but that's what makes the sport so special. So, what do you got coming up next? What's in the works for you coming in? Have any fights coming up?
Um, I have anything lined up right now. I was trying hard to get on the Sturgis card. We talked about it a little bit, but haven't gotten an opponent or any leads on it yet. So not sure if it's going to be that. We're trying to get something big next time around. We want to really capitalize on the momentum and
Yep.
make sure we get the right fight. They were talking about doing a card in Tennessee. I'm originally from Tennessee, so they were supposed to be doing a card there, and they wanted me on that, but that still hasn't come through yet. They haven't scheduled it yet, so
Yeah.
I'm still waiting around. I got in a car wreck 3 weeks after the fight, and had some pretty rough injuries, and still working on those, and trying to get some. I'm trying to get stem cells right now to get a couple last things worked out, so that I can come back 100%. And at this point, obviously, my next fight's my most important fight. I've got to capitalize on what happened, or it's kind of all for nothing. So um, that's kind of where we're at right now. Is just trying to get healthy and waiting for the call.
So, do you are you still training at all? I mean, with the injuries and all that, you still being able to get some training in, still stay prepared for if any of those cards do bring you on.
Mostly just keeping my cardio up. As far as like hard training, I'm trying not to just try to avoid making the injuries worse before we can get them better. But keeping the cardio up, and if the right opportunity came, we would take it. But it would have to be the right thing, obviously. Once I get these stem cells taken care of, it'll probably be pretty short period of time after that I'll be ready, 100% ready to go. Um, but right now we're just waiting for get that finance and or the right fight to come around either one.
Well, definitely looking forward to another one with you. The first one that I got to watch was super exciting. So one thing that I kind of started this show on was, we talk fighting all day. We talk about everything, stats, what you've done. You got the fastest knockout in combat sports right now. But I want people to start coming and finding you guys, just like your favorite MMA guy, your favorite UFC guy. Kind of cover you, let our fans know who Justin Watson is, and meaning just like what'd you grow up, kind of not dumb questions, but you kind of told me how you got into it. Your backyard brawler, you just you grew up fighting. But what are some of the things to make you, who are you as a person? My goal always is to always bring you guys new fans. When you walk out in that ring, there's a lot of times you guys come out, and even me, I watch it religiously every fight. Um, but the BKFC is so big right now. There's dudes you're like, oh my God, who's this guy? And I kind of want to
Right.
bring more attention to you guys, who you guys are as a person. So kind of talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So growing up, like I said, I was pretty rowdy. Got into a lot of trouble. In my early 20s, I had a daughter, and that kind of changed the whole my whole outlook on life and everything. Um, So since then, that's my number one priority is being a present and good father. Um, that comes before anything else, and then, um, outside of that, it's pretty much just fighting. I train a lot of kids, so, um, work with a lot of kids on a daily basis. But yeah, I don't know anything specific that you want to know, maybe. That's pretty much the basics of it, I guess.
Yeah, no, I mean, but that's pretty cool. So, I mean, I'm a dad myself. I also had a kid pretty early in my 20s. I have a 2 year old daughter right now, and I got another one on the way who'll be here in July. So, I little rambunctious, kind of the world was my playground, and then you have a kid, and it definitely can slow life down a little bit, make you realize that there's better stuff. And some of the shit you're doing is,
Yeah, it puts things into
not
perspective.
important. So,
Right. Yeah, it puts things into
but
perspective for sure.
yeah, absolutely. It's for my buddies always ask, what's it like having a kid? And I'm like, man, it's hard to just explain it to you. When you have one, you will understand. Everything you're doing now, you would put it to the back burner if it meant, you could spend more time with your kid. If you could just raise your kid, all you want to do is be with family. Plus, you saying that you like to, you're training young women and men, little kids. Is that train them in boxing, MMA?
MMA, jiu-jitsu. We have a big jiu-jitsu class, and then we do some kickboxing too. And then I do private classes with kids doing both kickboxing and MMA jiu-jitsu.
Oh, that's awesome. So, what's that like? Being a coach. I've coached kids and stuff. Dad grew up; he was a coach. But what's it like getting to see those young kids kind of learn the love of the sport and want to learn it? I mean, it's definitely something that some parents are like, "Ah, I don't know if I want my kid fighting," but I've always been interested in that.
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of my parents' thought growing up was I was already getting in trouble for fighting and stuff. So why should I be from kind of like promoting me learning how to fight better? They kind of thought that would get me in more trouble. That I would just use it more. But in reality, the kids that we get a lot of kids that have been in a lot of trouble that come into the gym and it totally changes their life. It gives them an outlet
Yeah.
to put those frustrations and to get rid of that energy. And then they don't want to go bully people. I mean, like once you know what you're capable of, like I don't want to go get in a fight with somebody. Like people, I don't know, I don't get mad about very much in everyday life because it's gonna be, you know, one punch and the fight's gonna be like it's not a there's no uh I don't know, it's
But
not tough, So it's like
well, you and me,
when there's no challenge to it. What's that?
I know. I was basically saying like you're training them to realize that they have a bigger purpose, and then of course they're training and fighting, so they get to kind of learn harness that anger, that energy, whatever it is they're dealing with. Maybe it could be a home problem, bullying at school, whatever, but it gives them confidence. I think that learning to fight, whether that be boxing, kickboxing, MMA, it gives a kid confidence. And in today's world, it's sad, a lot of these kids don't have confidence anymore. So to find something, an outlet like fighting, whether any sport, but I think fighting's a great one because if someone messes with you, well, I can turn around and kick your ass, but I'm not going to. I know
Right.
this.
And that's yeah, the confidence is what keeps them out of trouble. Like, a lot of times the lack of confidence is what causes kids to bully other kids or to get into fights is because they feel like they have to project this image of something that they don't feel like they actually are. So they're putting on something that they wish they could really be. And these kids, they know that they can handle themselves. So there's not any reason for them they don't feel like they have to prove it to anybody. They know that they go prove it every day to themselves.
Yep.
So that plays a big factor in it, I believe, and um, it's wild to see some of the kids, that just the transformation. Like for instance, I've got a little girl that when she first started, she wouldn't come on the mat. She would, stay right next to her mom. She was like a lot of anxiety, didn't want to be around other kids, didn't want to meet new kids, didn't want to learn new things. And then once she got into it, man, now she's a bulldog. You can't get her off the mat. as soon as she gets there, she's running straight out there. And just to see how much she's changed, in just a few months is wild. And there's stories like that for almost every kid in there.
Yeah.
So that was another thing that kind of, gave me a resurgence over the last year or so. One of the kids that I was coaching, it was one of my closest friends, his daughter. She was 7 years old and got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer last year, or year before last, and we ended up losing her last year.
Hmm.
So, part of that was like, seeing all the opportunities that she had ahead of her that are now gone made me rethink, you know, passing up opportunities. I think lots of times we think we put things off till later because, we've got plenty of time or whatever, but you just don't ever know. So, um, that's kind of got me to the point where I've just decided not to turn down any opportunities. When if there's an opportunity, I'm going to go for it. And my goal is to keep her alive for as long as possible. The further I go, the further Roswell goes. So, I'll keep talking about her and the inspiration that she gave me for as long as I'm around. So, um, these kids, they do a lot for me outside the gym, outside of what they see. There's a lot that I get out of it
Yeah.
too.
I mean, you being a dad too, you understand kids. Kids can give you a different perspective, even as an adult. We once were a kid. We used to have that mindset. Not a care in the world, just happy. Go getters, do what we want. And as an adult, we kind of lose that, but we can see that magic, and that can be in coaching a kid, giving those kids the confidence. That's all I want, for any kid in the world. And I get that a lot from little kids. I get that from my own daughter. There's times I'm having a rough day. I teach her something new. We learn something together, and it's like I'm that little kid again. Or it's that perspective of just, hey, everything's going to be okay. We're not guaranteed tomorrow. So that being you being a coach, hearing that story is really cool because I feel like that's a big thing. That's why people like coaching. That's what my dad coached us in football our whole lives, and didn't have to do it, but that raising those kids coming up, giving them an outlet, giving them a place to let their aggression out, but keep it out there on the field or out there on the mat when they're doing MMA. It's just a special thing, and I'm happy to hear that talking with you that you also are getting that perspective out of it. These are the things I kind of want people to hear about. Everybody sees this big bad fighter in the ring, but there is somebody outside of the ring, and kids have made a huge impact on your life. People have made an impact on your life that's different from outside of the fight world. So that's absolutely a beautiful thing to hear. So you said we don't have any fights coming up, but you're definitely on the card looking for some more. Um, is there anybody you're interested in out there right now that you would, or are you just down for anybody who wants to fight?
I mean, I've never been the type of person that. I've always wanted to fight the best there was out there. I've never been the guy who fought cans or anything like that. So me, I just want the best match, the best possible guy that I can get in order to move me up in the rankings and keep me going up. I'm not trying to knock out 15 scrubs and have a big record or anything like that. I want to fight real fights
Yeah,
and earn my way to the top. And um, you see guys who fight these cans and they get to 6, 7, 8, 0, but they haven't fought anybody. Like everybody they fought got an upside down record, and then when it's time to really face somebody, they don't know what they're in for.
yeah.
So that's not me. I want the best guys that I can get, um, and I want to, I'm here to get to the top as fast as possible.
Well, yeah. I mean, and that's a big point that I don't think people look at is you can look at a guy who's 9-0, but you go back, you start looking through the record, and he's climbed his way up quick, fighting guys that might have one or two wins, but predominantly a lot of losses. They're kind of, it's a padded record, and then you get to that big fight that you've been calling for, that you want, and that guy he's a bad dude. He hadn't been. He's been fighting everybody, and he's earned his way up there. And you kind of see that shock in people's face when they start getting hit, and like, damn, what do I start? What do I do? Um, and it can throw a guy off, and it can affect. I mean, it can affect your career in a way because now you're like, okay, well, that was my shot. So who do I go to from here to get that back? Who do I
Right.
need to fight now? Now I got to go find someone below this guy and kind of earn my title, but I still got to go back to this guy at some point. I got to beat him at some point. So it is it's interesting that aspect, and I think too with the bare knuckle, it's still being so new, and a lot of guys coming up. A lot of guys they're still letting guys come in for their debut fights and all this stuff. There's still a ton of people coming in. I'd say in the next couple of years, you'll kind of get to more know who is the top dogs, who you're going to come after. But
Oh yeah.
there's so many guys in there you don't know right now.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the top. If you look at like the top 10, I mean, I haven't even actually fought. I'm a bantamweight. I haven't even fought a bantamweight yet. My first opponent missed weight by 6 pounds, so moved us up a weight class. My second opponent pulled out on with 2 days before the fight, so I had to go up and fight somebody else last minute. I mean, this last one was just offered to me up a weight class. But like, if you look at my weight class, the guys in the top 10 range from, you know, 6, 7, and 0 to like 2 and 3 in the top 10.
Yeah,
So once that starts getting weeded out, and there's guys that are upside down. You have guys that are like Louis Lopez, for instance. There's another one, Roberto Armas,
hmm
who's got kind of an upside down record, but he just took out Chris Garcia, who's an undefeated prospect who's in the top 5. So there's a lot of that, and a lot of that is like you said, the picking your matchups and just fighting easy fights. Where a guy like Armas is not undefeated, but he's fought tough dudes every time.
yeah.
He's fought
Every
legit fights. So the experience that he got from that is way different than what Chris Garcia had. Chris Garcia had never been the nail; he'd only been the hammer. So when he felt what it was like to get hammered on, he just didn't know how to respond.
yeah.
Turned into a completely different fighter, and that's why you have to take these tough fights early, I think. And a lot of people they're just trying to get their record as shiny as possible and get to where they're going. But I think ultimately it's a major disservice to the athlete.
Well, I mean, experience is key, regardless. I mean, you're not gonna win every fight, and I mean, you're taking a good fight. You go the say you even go the distance with a guy who's the top dog. I mean, that's proven something. I mean, if you walk in, you get knocked out in the first round. I mean, it can happen to anybody, but if you're going the distance with these guys and you're losing fights just by decision off of a few points here and there. I mean, to me, in such a growing league, that's still looking good for you. That's in the right path. You're fighting some dude that's 9-0, 10-0. You're moving in the right direction. That next fight, you take everything you learn from that. You fight the same caliber guy, you take him out. I mean, it that just jumps you. So, records right now, especially in this sport, so young. I mean, it's anybody's game. That's what the best thing about it is for you guys. So it's enjoyable to watch you guys get to experience that and kind of be some of the not the first, but you're still right there in the young stages of coming up. 5 years from now could be completely different. You're up there in the top 5 in the bantamweight division. Um, and that's what's exciting. I'm wanting to meet all you guys, talk with all you guys, and let people know who you guys are on a fight level, but on a personal level, so we can follow your journey as you navigate through BKFC. It's definitely probably one of my favorite combat sports right now for sure. So, um, but
Yeah, it's definitely the most entertaining.
yeah, it's definitely the most entertaining. I've seen some crazy ones come out. I've talked about them before. We did a car in the bar jujitsu. Basically, it was jujitsu, but it was in a car. Um, and
Mm-hmm.
that was pretty interesting to watch. I don't know if I'd religiously watch that every weekend, but definitely was interesting to be there, see that. I have gotten into the slap fighting stuff a little bit. To sit there and take the hammers, the women too. The women can sling it too.
Oh yeah,
That's definitely some.
yeah. Some of the six are wild.
It is wide open. You can't move. You can't duck. You're just taking a hit. So, but bare knuckle. To watch you guys definitely put on a great show. You show strength, resilience in it. I mean, to get hit as many times and watch guys just pop right back up is pretty impressive. I mean, it shows shows how tough you guys are and what you're willing to do for the sport you love. So,
For sure.
but hey, man, I've appreciated you coming on and talking with me a little bit, getting to know who you are, and we look forward. I'm looking forward to hear you announce the fight, whenever that may be. It would be cool to see you on that Sturgis card. I think we're gonna go out to that Sturgis fight, so we'd love to see some familiar faces up there on the card. Anything you want to say? Anybody you want to shout out here? Any thanks? Any love to anybody?
Just all the people that have been supporting me for all these years. Um, when it didn't look like I was gonna end up making it anywhere, and they still believed in me and knew we were gonna get here at one point. Um, there's a handful of those, and without those people, it would have made it a lot more difficult. So, I definitely just want to shout all them out there. All obviously know who they are, and um, yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right, man. Well, hey, appreciate you coming on Salty's Fight Talk. It's been an honor. Guys, Justin Watson, also known as the BK Warmonger. He's an absolutely great guy. Y'all listen, stay tuned for this. Look out for him, and we hope to see him in a fight soon. I appreciate you, Justin.